Hello, it's Holy Tuesday. Now, there is a lot that is happening on this day that we can read about in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Holy Tuesday is when Jesus was issued various challenges by the Pharisees and the Sadducees over subjects such as marriage in heaven, paying taxes to Caesar, and the source of his authority. Also, this is the day that Jesus commended the widow's donation and was approached by a number of God-fearing Greeks. Earlier, though, in Matthew chapter 21, Jesus used a barren fig tree as an example. His disciples saw what he did to the fig tree, and you know what? They were marveled. Then we get to Matthew chapter 21, verses 21 and 22. Let's read that together. And it says, Jesus answered them, "Truly, I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, be taken and thrown into the sea, it would happen." Verse 22, and whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive it if you have faith. The disciples have asked Jesus how he was able to cause this fig tree to wither, and Jesus presents them with a lesson about the power behind faith, indicating with faith they could have withered the tree as well. In fact, Jesus adds that with faith in God and without doubting, they could have the power to tell the mountains to be taken and thrown into the sea. And part of this example, obviously it's hyperbole, is an exaggeration for an effect. At the same time, it's good to remember that the power behind prayer comes from God, not the one who prays. If a request is aligned with God's will, it is not impossible for him to accomplish it. The point, of course, isn't that Jesus wants them to throw mountains into the sea. He wants the disciples to understand that in and through him, they will have the power beyond themselves to accomplish what he gives them to do in the coming years. Now let's read verse 22 again. And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive it if you have faith. Jesus' statement to his disciples is a powerful promise. Over the years, I've seen people that they've misused this verse, and when they did not get what they wanted or prayed for, they get angry with God or even the church. Maybe you've heard someone say, "God doesn't listen to me," or "I prayed and nothing happened," or maybe you've even heard the opposite of that. Pray for a new car, blab it and grab it, and then maybe they will quote verse 22, and whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive it if you have faith. Now know this, that God cares deeply that his people trust him and him alone and do what they ask. God's power, of course, is limitless. Anything is possible for him. God will always give us good things. Our job is to understand what is good so that we know what to ask for. The natural mind cannot understand this, but when we offer ourselves as a living sacrifice and are transformed by the renewing of our minds, then we will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. You can read more about this in Romans chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. Then asking for what we need in faith, we will have all we need for life, godliness and fullness of joy. Now, the biblical instruction concerning prayer is that we pray for good things that we truly need according to the will of God. And the authority of Jesus Christ is persistently, you can read that in Luke chapter 18, verse 1. Unselfishly, James 4:3, and faith, James chapter 1, verse 6. Among the most important prayers in the life of a Christian are, "Teach me to love you above all else, and cause me to want what you want." When we truly desire God, when we are passionate to see his will accomplished in this world, and when we ask for what brings him glory, we will always see God come through. A few days from now, we can read in the Gospels of Matthew chapter 26 that just before Jesus was arrested in the garden, Jesus prayed to his Father, saying, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Later, Jesus prays, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink, it may be your will be done." Jesus knew what was about to come. The agony he faced was going to be more than physical. It was going to be spiritual and emotional as well. Jesus knew that God's will was to crush him and allow him to be pierced for our transgressions and wounded for our healing. Isaiah chapter 53, verses 5 through 10. Jesus loved mankind, but his humanity dreaded the pain and sorrow he was going to face, and it drove him to ask, Father, let this cup pass from me. Jesus' prayer, let this cup pass from me, contains two important qualifications. First, he prays, is it possible? Second, he prays, yet not my will, but your will be done. Jesus committed to the will of God in body, mind, and soul, which is a reminder that the prayers of the righteous is always to depend on the will of God.